Great! Vámonos! Let's go! In English, we say open. In Spanish, we say abre. Tico speaks Spanish. To tell him to stop, we say para. Can you say para?
Para.
Para! Para? Gracias, papi. Catch it, catch it, catch it! We did it! Thanks for helping. Gracias.
So I'm going to let you in on the secret behind Dora's success. You ready? Here we go. You get it? It's pretty simple. The secret is the pause after Dora asks a question. It's the time that she asks her audience for help, and it's 3 seconds that really allows kids to think about, to hear and to think about and answer her questions. You know, it's to an adult used to the breakneck pace of most TV, it can seem like an eternity. But it really is the time that it takes a preschooler to turn their brains on and get them involved and have them learn. It's also about something else, that pause. It's about listening. You see, Dora takes the time to listen, and she models good behavior. She's also showing what's at the core of our success at Nickelodeon, listening. Before we launched Nick Jr., which was in around 1989, we met with a wide range of people whose lives intersect with preschoolers, teachers, storytellers, educators, toy inventors, child development experts, even someone from Fred Rogers' company. Everybody gathered together, and the first thing we were asked to do was to draw a picture of each of ourselves. One of the pictures drawn by a professor from UMass was of a brain synapse, a neural connection, and it really stood out. And so we asked why, and he said, because that's what's happening in kids' minds. And we listened. And ever since then, connecting those synapses has been front and center in everything we do. The first outcome of this process was Blue's Clues, and that turned out pretty well. It did change the way kids watch TV. It showed that commercial television could produce programming as good for kids as public television. And I thought, oh, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Somehow we managed to catch lightning in a bottle. No way could we repeat a phenomenon like this. But we thought we'd try anyway. So we worked on a new show that took the Blue's Clues model and added a high-stakes adventure to the interactive mix. In our first ideation, our main character, as Pablo said, was a bunny who lived in the forest, and then she morphed into a little white girl named Katie. And around that time, I attended a Children's Now conference that focused on race and gender in children's media. They presented a paper documenting the lack of people of color in lead roles in kids' media and explained the potentially harmful impact an omission like that could have on kids' self-esteem. So we listened, and I said, why can't we make Kate a Latina and put her in a culturally authentic environment? My boss at that point was a guy named Herb Scannell, who was enormously proud of his Puerto Rican mother, and he said, go for it, and so we did. We named her Dora both for computadora and because her world is actually in a computer, and for exploradora, because that's what she does. We also learned that some first-generation Hispanic kids were ambivalent about their parents' native tongue. And rather than being proud of their language, they were embarrassed by having always to translate for their parents. And although Pablo told me today that his daughter says, Dad, no English in front of my friends. Because it's cooler when he talks Spanish. So we listened again. And we thought, well, why not make Dora bilingual? And why not make Spanish her magic power, the key to solving most of the problems she faces? So she was evolving. In the first drawings, she had green eyes instead of reddish hair. We showed her some of our Hispanic consultants who said, oh, no, you have to make her look like most Latino kids in America. So we listened. We made her skin a teeny bit darker, her eyes brown, and her hair dark brown. In her looks, her language, and her personality, and her actions, we made sure Dora would be authentic to Latino kids, and their validation would let all kids know that she was the real deal. At another point, there was a character named Tico, the squirrel. You saw him driving the motorboat, Para. And he spoke Spanish, only Spanish. And when we first met Tico in the character Bible, he spent most of the time sleeping under a tree. And once again, our Hispanic consultants showed us the error of our ways. What a bad idea that was. So, we listened, and we made Tico the character who is full of energy, and he's the only one who can drive. So he has a license, which is kind of funny here in California. This is how the entire process worked. At every stage, we involved consultants from every relevant field: child development, Spanish language, Latino culture. We made sure the people behind the camera reflected the diversity we were presenting on screen and the diversity of the audience in front of the TV. Every time they gave us feedback, we listened and we made changes. And after all of that, we still weren't done. We had to go to the most important audience of all, the kids. We listened more closely to them than we did to anyone, and we watched and observed, and we made further changes. Most important, this process wasn't just in the pilot. We use it for every single episode and still do. I think we research every episode 3 or 4 times. So every story idea, every script is reviewed by what seems like the largest team of consultants in the entire universe. But then we bring in the big guns, who are the kids, and we show each story to them as a storybook before it gets produced. And, if you think Vegas is a tough audience, you haven't been with a group of preschoolers. If they don't like what you're showing them, they give you immediate feedback, and they get up and leave. One time we were presenting an idea for a Dora episode, and every single child in the room left, except for one. He was asleep. So, we threw that one away and started over. But I do want to emphasize another critical part of the process. Dora wasn't just about representing a Latino role model as a main character. It wasn't just about making Hispanic kids proud of their language and encouraging other kids to learn Spanish. It was about helping all kids gain the skills they will need for the rest of their lives, simulating many different ways in which kids learn: language, logic and math, bodily kinesthetics, which is movement, the concept of space, music, interpersonal relationships, and intrapersonal relationships, which is how well one can draw on their inner resources. And there's something else that we do that I feel is very critically important. We present a girl as a leader to make sure that both boy and girl viewers who do watch Dora in equal numbers understand that girls can be leaders and that it doesn't make a boy less masculine if he's a follower, and to model inclusive, empathetic, inspirational leadership strategies. Of course, for this to work, it has to be fun, and that's what we try to do, to make it fun. Now, here's something else I think that is critically important about Dora. She is presenting a vision of the future, a positive vision of the future, and an accurate vision. It's a future in which jobs require listening and teamwork. It's a future in which problem-solving skills like the ones Dora employs are absolutely essential to any successful career. It's a future in which multiculturalism rules, and the ability to get along with diverse groups of people is indispensable to success.